Hi, I'm Kim Woodbury with the Miami Valley Small Business Development Center in Dayton, Ohio. And today I'm going to go over a comparison between the Payroll Protection Program, otherwise known as the PPP, and the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, or EIDL. It's April 16th, 2020, and this information is current as of today. The purpose of both programs is to help small businesses through the current crisis. It is not to provide funds to start a new business, to expand an existing business, or to pay off old debts. The PPP is focused on providing businesses an incentive to retain their employees, while the EIDL's goal is to keep businesses in business. The uses for the program are similar, but the PPP is a little more restrictive. The PPP can be used to pay payroll costs with some restrictions. It can be used to cover the costs related to continuing group health care benefits. For interest only on existing mortgage obligations, no prepayment or principal payments allowed. Rent, utilities, and the interest on other debt obligations that were incurred before February 15th, 2020. On the other hand, the EIDL can be used for fixed expenses related to injury caused by the current crisis, including rent, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that could have been paid if the disaster had not occurred. One note on the PPP, in order to use particular expenses with loan funds, a good rule of thumb is if these types of expenses were entitled to be claimed for deductions on your 2019 taxes, they are most likely allowed. Okay, the terms of the PPP include a $10 million maximum loan amount at 1% with a 2-year maturity. There are no prepayment penalties and payments can be deferred for 6 months. The terms of the EIDL are $2 million maximum at 3.75% interest for businesses and 2.75% for nonprofits, with up to a 30-year maturity. Like the PPP, there are no prepayment penalties and payments can be deferred up to 12 months. The PPP has no personal guarantee or collateral requirements, while the EIDL requires a personal guarantee for loans over $200,000 and collateral is required for loans over $25,000. The eligibility for the two programs are similar, although the PPP is a little more restrictive. First of all, in order to be eligible for either program, you must be classified as a small business. The general guideline is that you have fewer than 500 employees, although some industries are considered small with over 500 employees. If you're not sure if you qualify as a small business, you can go to the website I've listed up here at the top of the slide, www.sba.gov/size-standards/ where there's a tool to help you determine if you fit the standards for your industry. With both the PPP and the EIDL, self-employed are eligible. This includes sole proprietors and independent contractors. Additional entities eligible for the PPP are 501c3 private nonprofits, 501c19 veterans organizations, and 31b2c tribal entities. The EIDL also allows co-ops, ESOPs, which are employee stock ownership plans, agricultural co-ops, aquaculture enterprises, and nurseries that fit into the size standards for small business. They also include 501c, D, and E nonprofits, and tribal businesses are also eligible. For these programs, many franchises will also be eligible. They are looking at each location separately rather than the organization as a whole. All right, both the PPP and the EIDL have forgiveness options. With the PPP, there is loan forgiveness of up to 8 weeks of payroll and expenses, depending on employee retention and salary levels. 75% of the forgiveness must be used for payroll. The EIDL has an option for a forgiveness advance of up to $10,000, a forgivable advance of up to $10,000. It is figured by the number of employees times $1,000, up to 10 employees. For example, a sole proprietor with no employees would be eligible for $1,000, while a larger employer with more than 10 employees would still only be eligible for the $10,000 advance. To apply for the PPP, you will go directly through an SBA approved lender, and then for the EIDL, you apply directly through the SBA at covid19relief.sba.gov/pound/. So you can apply for both loans, but you cannot use the funds for the same expense. There is no double dipping. Businesses who are in operation prior to February 15th, 2020 are eligible for the PPP. I'm sorry. Businesses who were in operation prior to February 15th, 2020 for the PPP and January 31st, 2020 for the EIDL are eligible for these programs. So even if you began your business recently, you may still be able to apply. You should be gathering documentation, which includes payroll records, income taxes for 2019, etc., because at some point you will most likely be asked to provide evidence and supporting documentation. And finally, make sure your books are up to date so that you can make sure that you have accurate information that you're providing to the SBA and to your bank. All right. So if you have questions or you need assistance, please reach out to your local small business development centers. We provide confidential, no-cost advising to small businesses. Ohio has over 25 centers throughout the state, and there are SBDCs in every state. So if you're in Ohio, you can go to this link, clients.ohiosbdc.ohio.gov/. And if you're outside of Ohio, you can find your nearest center by going to the national SBDC site, ASBDC, and that your URL is americassbdc.org. Thank you, and stay safe.